Palbociclib, or Ibrance, combined with letrozole, are two very powerful drugs to combat HER receptor positive metastatic breast cancer in postmenopausal women. But I think we need to talk about it. I was misunderstanding some of the things about Ibrance, and I want to correct that. Only proves to you that I am not a doctor. I'm just trying to take care of me. And I've had a lot of problems the last couple of months with pain and cancer. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that too, okay? Welcome. I'm Denise. This is Travels in My Chair. As we get ready for the Christmas season, some of us are going, and others are going, oh, just get it over with so I can get on with my life. I'm sort of in between this year. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and I hope you consider subscribing. Those of you who do watch, please also do consider subscribing and giving it a thumbs up. Every little bit counts for me. You know, I'm a tiny little channel, and I don't mind being tiny, but I'd like to be a little bit bigger than what I am. So for those who don't know me, I was diagnosed with MS in '95, diagnosed with breast cancer the tail end of 2006. I had a left breast mastectomy. They thought I had a hole in my sternum, and so they were basically going to just wipe me off as, oh well, it's in her bone, she's got a couple of years to live, that's it. Well, I fooled them, because you can tell, I'm still here. So for those of you who feel like you're getting a death sentence when you go to the oncologist, try to just say in your head, no, this isn't a death sentence. Even my oncologist, every time I'd go to her, she'd go, how are you feeling? I'd go, fine. She'd go, till finally, in 2017, I was kicked to the curb and taken off a drug called letrozole. Now, letrozole for me was a very interesting drug. I had just gone through menopause when I got breast cancer, and letrozole was still in trials. It had not come to the market yet, although I think it had in other parts of the world, but just not in Canada. And finally, my oncologist, who was part of the trial, said, I'm going to give you the drug because it is showing amazing results, and I think you need to be on it, Denise. I said, okay. And I've told you before, for those of you who've been here before, it shrunk the tumor quite rapidly. Then they did further studies on that drug, and they discovered that it was really beneficial to secondary breast cancer or metastatic breast cancer. And that's sort of the last I heard of it. And now we come to Palbociclib, or it can go by different names. Here it's Ibrance. There was a study done in postmenopausal women. All had the HER positive, but half of them were given a blind plus a placebo, and the others were given the combination of the two drugs. And the ones that had the combination of the two drugs lived longer. I mean, we're not talking years, we're just talking months. But when they were on the two drugs together, they did experience more fatigue and more muscle aches. And I have experienced both. But when my breast cancer metastasized to my bones last August, my oncologist said that it was just fairly new. Combining the two drugs together had a much greater effect, positive effect, than just being on letrozole. And she wanted me on both the drugs. So far, they have worked in the fact that my cancer has not spread so far, and it's holding its own. Okay, the tumors on my right side haven't done anything, and the ones on my left, that's sclerosis. Why are you even doing a video about these two drugs if they're so wonderful? Well, I'm going to tell you, as usual, a little story about my poor sad life for the last couple of months. And I fell off my recliner. Now, I will admit, and I think those of you who have followed me know that my recliner is too big for me. And we are now looking at getting another one now that I finally got this thing paid for. But I need, because I've lost so much weight, And I'm only, 5'1.5" anyway. I like that half in there. This is my big recliner. I think it's built for someone like a full-size man or something like that. So something else I've learned, don't buy a piece of furniture, whether it be a bed, a chair, or a couch, or any kind of health equipment, until you've tried it out. It's too dangerous for me to be using equipment that isn't right for me. So when I fell, what ended up happening was I slipped the skin on my buttock, on my right buttock. You guys know I'm suffering a lot with it. And every time I'd move, that skin, which was just like tissue paper, would just tear a little bit more. And it was agony. Now, I'm on a drug called hydromorphone for the cancer. And I'm also on gabapentin. And I'm on clonazepam for my MS. Nothing was working. Finally, talked to the doctor. And he looked at the wound and he immediately ordered a wound specialist to start coming in. And that got me into this system that you guys complain all you want about the medical system. No complaints from me. That same day I get a call organized with a wound specialist nurse. Comes and checks, says you're not infected. That's what your doctor's worried about. If you have infection or fever, you go to the hospital immediately. And I'll be here, I'll come back in another couple of days and we'll check it. And so then, I had a different series of nurses that came in. Then all of a sudden I get a call from the occupational therapist. He says he wants to come, that as long as I do not have a Roho cushion that is built for people that sit in a chair all the time, that don't move around, it takes the pressure off the certain points, okay? And if I don't have that cushion, my wound might heal, but it's going to come back. And next time I might not be so lucky. So I go, yeah, okay. So we've been going back and forth. So far, my insurance people want me to get a whole new wheelchair, so I think that's going to happen. I've got to figure out how I'm going to get another chair, because the one I got was $2,500. I just finished paying for it. Honestly, if you have a boat or you have a chronic illness, you've got to have money. And I don't have a boat. I have a chronic illness, but I don't have the money. Like, I can't even tell you the pain. I've never had any pain like it. And then one night, when I'm in bed and I lay on my right side, all of a sudden my left leg, from the hip down to my knee, on the back part of my thigh, I get an electric shock. And on the side part of my thigh, I get an electric shock. And on the front part of my thigh, I get a burning sensation. And I can't straighten my leg, I can't bend my leg. It is absolutely excruciating agony. And when the home care nurse called me, I told her, and she was on it immediately. She got hold of my doctor. My hydromorphone isn't working. The letrozole and the Ibrance is working. However, when you take Ibrance, you have to know that it's going to lower your white blood cell count and lower your red blood cell count. So I go for my bone infusion a couple of weeks ago, and the nurse asked me what's wrong, and I tell her, and she says, have you talked to your oncologist about this? And I go, why would I? And she said, oh, I'm phoning your doctor right away. We need to get hold of your oncologist. I didn't even think of a wound would be related to the cancer. First, mistake. I've always thought Ibrance was a chemotherapy drug, and I'm not even sure. It lowers your white and your red blood cell count, so guess what? You haven't got the ability to heal. You can't fight off germs. When I got sick in October, I was sick because I had nothing to fight with. So I have to be so careful. The nurse gets hold of my doctor. The doctor gets hold of the oncologist. The oncologist wants me to go immediately off the Palbociclib until the wound heals, and or she talks to me in January. And as soon as I went off that drug, I was able to start eating a little bit better, and I'm not ever probably going to be back to my full appetite, and I sure can't handle sugar. But the Palbociclib, I'm not as tired. No, that's a wrong way of putting it. I don't need to sleep as much during the day, but it doesn't mean I'm not tired. Because sometimes I'm not sleeping all night because of the pain in my leg, which is wakes me up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and then from 2 o'clock on I am internally screaming or crying, and my dog isn't helping because she decides that she needs to take care of me, so she needs to lay on my bad leg. But she weighs 15 pounds or so now, you know, and I can't move. I don't have the strength in my leg to move. They're so weak.
What are you doing? What are you doing? My baby. You're my baby. He's a good girl. He's a good girl. Yeah. No, you're not supposed to bite that. No. Yeah.
Now, so far in my journey of a couple of weeks, I've had 1, 2, 3 home care wound specialist nurses, 1 home care nurse call me, an in-home physiotherapist, which is lovely, occupational therapist, who is fabulous, my oncologist, and 3 or 4 doctors, and a resident. So the home care nurse was worried about my pain, phoned the clinic, and I got the most loveliest resident you could ever imagine. She asked me what was going on, and I told her. And I told her what my physiotherapist had said about, she thought maybe the pain was coming from my L3 and L4 on my back because of the nature of the pain. So I was scheduled to have an x-ray to make sure I hadn't broken a bone when I fell. That came back a couple of days ago, and I was fine. As fine as I can be, you know. Anyway, this lovely resident doctor asked me about the drugs I was on, and I said, I need something for the pain at night. I can't. If I don't sleep, I'm a danger to myself. When the occupational therapist was here, he saw firsthand me trying to get on and off my recliner, and I was just about dumping myself because I was so tired. She said, okay, let me talk to the physician because your own doctor isn't here right now, and we'll come up with a plan, but I think I kind of have a solution. She says, I'm going to stay on top of this. So she phoned me, and she talked to first one doctor and then another doctor, and she put forth a plan, and they agreed. So the plan is this. I had mistakenly been doubling up on my clonazepam because clonazepam is an anti-anxiety, anti-spasmodic, anti-seizure drug that I've been on for years for the MS. But, she said, it does not work in conjunction with hydromorphone. They are not compatible, and in fact, you can have respiratory problems if you take too much of either. I did not know that. So she suggested, go back to my 1 clonazepam at bedtime, don't take any more of that. The hydromorphone, I'm taking a very low dose, and what I should do is take it when I'm in pain, and if I have to take it during the day, that's fine. 2 a night isn't enough. I made a decision the other night, because I remember years ago a doctor saying to me, you know, Denise, I'm going to prescribe extra strength Tylenol to you, but I want you to take it every 3 hours. I don't want you to wait till the pain starts, because your body's fighting harder to fight off the pain. Whereas if you take the pill and at 3 hours take another one, your body isn't having to work so hard. And I thought about that the other night. I was laying in bed and I woke up. I'd gone to sleep. I woke up, it was like 1:30, and I could feel the pain coming up on my leg. And so I thought, right away I'm going to take a hydromorphone. So I did. And the pain, it didn't subside completely, but it went away enough so that I could sleep. So I slept for probably 2 or 3 hours and then woke again. Pain was back, took another hydromorphone. So all through the night from say 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning, I took 4 of them. And I talked to the resident this morning, and she was just absolutely fine with that. Take them when you need them. You must. You can't live with that pain. If you have, and this is me now talking to you, if you have a chronic illness, think about the quality of your life. So the quality of my life has been pretty crappy since October. I haven't been anywhere. I've canceled all my Christmas plans except for when the family comes over. I'm tired a lot because I'm not sleeping during the night. Who wants to live like that? So taking this hydromorphone, now I have to say I've only done this 3 nights now, and I've slept. Sleeping is more important than anything. It gives me the fuel for the next day, and it also gives me the energy to start to eat a little bit so that I'm not starving myself. So if you're on letrozole and palbociclib for your metastatic breast cancer, just be aware of certain things. The palbociclib is going to affect your ability to fight off abrasions, wounds, illness, and there's a lot of it going around this winter again. If you're out in public, you may want to consider wearing a mask, maybe use some hand sanitizer, be really, really cautious. It took me forever to get to the point with my butt wound that I could even sit. You know, you've watched a couple of my videos, haven't you, where I'm like, I'm in pain. As I'm progressing with this cancer journey and my MS and my type 2 diabetes, what's happening is that I'm getting, my overall body strength is getting weaker. As soon as my bum wound heals, the physiotherapist is going to start coming and giving me some exercises to do, gentle exercises, because we are very aware also of this leg, this left leg that is giving me so much pain. And keep in mind, guys, and I've told you this before, I think, that I've had MS since 1995, and I've had a hip pain because my leg used to swing out in order to walk because I couldn't lift my foot up. So doing that for years put a lot of pressure on my hip bone, right? Or pelvic or whatever. And so I've always had pain there. And especially by the time I'd go to bed at night, it would be pretty bad. And that's why I went on clonazepam. Now, my new lovely resident said, "You're only taking 1 gabapentin a day?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, it's good for nerve pain. And it sounds to me that a lot of your pain in that leg is nerve pain. I think you should take more." And I'm like, oh my God, more pills. And she said, "I wanted to ask you something, and I'm hesitant." I said, "Don't be hesitant." She said, "I was thinking that I should recommend you to a palliative care physician." I said, "Do we even have one on the coast?" She said, "Oh yeah, she's lovely. And I'm not saying that you're dying tomorrow." I said, "No, I know that." I said, "Because I watch a YouTube video that used to be called Too Cute for Cancer, and she got a palliative care, not a physician, but a physician assistant, and was there to just control her meds for pain and be there when she needed somebody to talk to about her cancer." And she said, "Exactly." I said, "Oh, I'm all for it then." I said, "Because if you'd asked me this a month ago, I would not have been all for it. But now, with the pain I'm in," because she's telling me, my resident, that there is a different form of hydromorphone that's a long-lasting form, and that hydromorphone is only a short-lasting drug. I said, "Really? I didn't know that. It'll only last 2 to 3 hours. Well, I was trying to go 4 hours. No wonder it wasn't working. The drug was working, but in my body, after 2.5 hours, it's not working anymore. So I have to take another pill, which is fine for now until we get a handle on the pain. But when I get a call from my palliative care doctor, I'm going to ask her about this long-range hydromorphone so that I could take 1 pill at night, sleep through the night, if there is such a thing. But that's the kind of thing I'm going to deal with. Now, I was also concerned about my own doctor who had been away on holidays. And I said to the resident, I said, "I'm really worried about my doctor. I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to get him upset." And she talked to the doctor she was working with, who is a friend of my doctor. And they all talked and they passed notes and did all that stuff. And my doctor's all fine with it all. He's fine with the pill recommendation. She renewed my prescription, or not her, but the doctor she was working for, to get me over Christmas until I talked to my oncologist. My physiotherapist is going to come to see me. And if I thought I was lonely and had no life, it seems to me I'm going to be what older people always say, oh yeah, my whole social life is the medical system. It kind of is, you know. Aren't I lucky? I've got all these people, their whole purpose, they say to me, we want to make sure that you don't have pain. I don't want pain either. I've got grandkids I need to hug. I've got people I need to see. I've got a little dog that wants to play ball with me, and she's probably sick of sleeping on me all day, but she does because she doesn't want to be away from me. I just want you, this is what I want you to take from this, okay? Never assume, because as you know, it makes an ass out of you and me. If you have any doubts with your health care, or if you're having any pain or anything new that should appear, don't hesitate to get hold of your physician. So we're 10 days away from Christmas. My presents are all wrapped behind me. The kids are just dying to get them off and open them up. They came over last night for a birthday celebration, and I had a bunch of candy canes. I said, you can hang them on the tree. I'm going to move a bit, and you tell me if you can see them. They're all at the bottom of the tree. Can you see them? Because they're all the little kids that want them. You're gonna laugh. So do have the best Christmas that you can have with the health problems that you might be experiencing. Try to reach out to somebody that needs you, or that can need some support, or maybe you need some support and you might have to ask. Sometimes you have to ask because people have a busy life and people go on with their life and they don't even think sometimes of that there may be somebody living next door that's sitting in their living room going, oh, I wish somebody would love me. So take care. Only hug the people in your life that you know haven't been around a bunch of other people, so you don't get sicker. And have an okay Christmas. And if you're really lucky, have a wonderful Christmas. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, I hope. Bye for now. Merry Christmas. Love you.